Buenas noches. Okay. Hola a todos, muy buenas noches. Gracias por acompañarnos esta noche. Tenemos unas presentaciones muy interesantes. Primero vamos a empezar con el distrito y van a platicar sobre cómo preparar a nuestros hijos en cualquier grado, ya sea para después de graduación que entren a la universidad o que vayan ya empezando en la fuerza laboral, en el workforce. Y la primera parte vamos a hacerla en inglés. La computadora va a hablar en inglés, entonces se pueden poner los jefes que están en la mesa y yo van a hablar en español para nosotros, ¿ok? So, en sus mesas tienen sus audífonos ahí si necesitan interpretación de inglés a español. Ok. Entonces, deja ver aquí el file para dar la bienvenida. Okay. Nuestra primer presentadora es Maura Brady McMullen, es consejera en Mid High School y termina su 15º año como consejera en SVVSD. Ha formado parte de los equipos de respuesta de crisis y de liderazgo del distrito, coordina las becas locales para SVVSD y se desempeña como consejera principal a los consejeros del distrito. Entonces, por favor, si me ayudan a dar un aplauso.
Loud, but not that loud. So,
Hola, soy Mara. Yo soy la consejera de high school. Yo hablo español, but I'm going to do this in English so that way it's more accurate and you guys don't cringe. So, which am I working from?
or you can just tell something. I don't know if it's oh.
So I wanted to talk to you about how to help your student be prepared in high school to be ready for college. So all the things that they can do in elementary.
Oh, you were doing. Oh, okay, good. I thought that they needed everything.
Okay. So I work at high school, and most of what I'm going to tell you is going to be applicable to all students at all schools. So at Mead High School, we really encourage our students to be involved, and we really want everybody to know their counselor. And this is a really critical thing for your students, because being connected with their counselor means that they can get better access to college information. So at Mead High School, we meet with every student twice a year, so once in the fall, and then once again in the spring. And many of the high schools do this as well, but they might have a little bit of a different system depending on their schedule. Oh, our batteries. But at these meetings, we really encourage you as parents, you're welcome to come in and meet with us while you're meeting with your students so that we can go over their credits and we can help them and you understand all the things they need to do to be prepared for the next 2, 3, 4 years of high school, depending on how old they are right now. We also offer mental health services. So we will help connect students with outside resources. And we have those connected here. So we have iMatter Colorado and mental health partners. And if you live in Weld County, they have access to North Range Behavioral Health. And finally, we are really, our focus often is on academic support. So making sure your student has access to tutoring, has access to other interventions at school. So those could be meeting with their teacher, coming in for lunch, getting them a study hall. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I would really encourage you, if you haven't already met your students counselor, so please try and go and set up a meeting to meet with them. So I always like to point out and remind parents what they need, what students need for graduation. I don't want to stand in the way. So every single student in St. Frank needs to earn 24.5 credits to graduate. And in specific areas, they need to have a full year of 9th grade, 10th grade, we'll wait.
That's what I mean.
All right, we're back. So again, everybody needs 24.5 credits to graduate. And students specifically need 4 years of English. And it needs to be 9th grade, 10th, and 11th and 12th grade English. In social studies, they need 3 years, and it has to specifically be world geography, US history, and US government. Mathematics, they need 3 years. And typically, depending on how well your student is doing in math in middle school, it changes the opportunities, it just changes the classes they will start in. But many students start 9th grade with Algebra 1, 10th grade with geometry, and 11th grade with Algebra 2. This is the minimum, and this is just to get you graduated, and I'll talk about the differences for going to college in a minute. Science, you need 3 credits. Typically, everybody does biology, chemistry, and in junior year, physics or anatomy. Those are 2 different classes. Most colleges want to see biology and chemistry, so that's why most 9th and 10th graders have those classes. 11th and 12th grade students have a little bit of options with different science electives. Finally, you need to have 2 PE credits, which means 4 semesters of PE. Sometimes students who play sports, they can get a PE waiver, and that means they don't actually have to take a PE class. They can waive up to 1 credit or 2 classes. So if you have a student who's an athlete and they're struggling to get PE onto their schedule, they can do a PE waiver, and they should talk to their counselor about that. All students are required to take a fine art, which is going to be a typical art class on drawing, painting, or photography, or they can do music. They also need to do a practical art, which is going to be your business classes, your computer science classes, or your family consumer science, such as cooking or relationships classes. Everyone needs to take health, and typically that's done in 9th grade. And then finally, everyone needs to take personal financial literacy, which is typically done in 11th or 12th grade. This year, I've had a lot of 10th graders taking financial literacy, so it doesn't really matter, but it's recommended for a little bit older once students maybe have a job and understand. The final thing is that any class that is above and beyond the classes the subjects I just mentioned, is considered a general elective. So if you have a student who really loves art or they are in band, they can take all the art and band that they want, and they will still be able to graduate as long as they hit these minimums. Thank you. So that's what I pointed out was just the minimum for every student to graduate from a St. Frank High School. The difference that I would like everybody to know is that if your student is wanting to go to a 2-year or 4-year college, we really recommend that they do, the difference being that they need 4 years of math versus 3. And almost every single college that is a 4-year school, like CU Boulder, Colorado State University, Mesa out in Colorado Mesa, which is in Grand Junction, they all want 4 years of math. The other thing is, depending on where they want to go, they might want to take a foreign language class. So depending on the school, most schools are going to offer Spanish for Spanish speakers, and or French. We also, depending on the school, offer American Sign Language, and students typically can take that in 11th or 12th grade. So the parts of yellow are for the same grade, and the parts in red is if they want to go to college. I really, really encourage all students to take 4 years of math. And depending on what they want to study, they should probably take 4 years of science and social studies as well. So if your student wants to go into a medical field, they should probably be thinking about doing an advanced science their senior year.
Are the college admission requirements, similar across the nation?
Yes, so most colleges do want that 4 years of math. And again, depending on what major, which student wants to study, I recommend that you do that fourth year of science or social studies. So can you go back? A lot of students do like advanced placement psychology. That's considered a social studies. But if they don't have these classes, they can't graduate. So sometimes transcripts will show that, oh, I've got 4 years of social studies, but if they don't have this area, they can't graduate. But I definitely, the more core classes, which are the English, math, science, and social studies, the better your student is prepared for college. All right. This be good. All right. Oh, yes, please.
What about for like any legal careers, like
Legal, like politics,
no
law.
like legal, attorney, lawyer?
Oh,
What classes do you recommend for them?
that's a great question. So I think if a student is interested in going into anything in the law, with dealing with law, they should do 4 years of definitely social studies. And I would definitely, and they want 4 years of math. So each school is going to have opportunities. So you're going to see that some of your students might say, I'm going to take AP calculus, right? And so that's advanced calculus. That's for students, I would say, who are interested in going into like a medical field or a STEM field. So science, technology, engineering, and math. Students who are interested in going into law, they should think about social studies. So they should be taking advanced placement government. They should be taking advanced placement like the macro and microeconomics. So you want to take those challenging courses. And it's so dependent, and that's why we have meetings with every single student at my school, because we help guide each kid individually. Are there any other questions about this part?
Okay, so put in a plug for our free law program.
Yeah.
At CBTC.
Yes, so the thing, there's so many opportunities and I don't have enough time. I could sit and talk to you all for about 2 or 3 hours about all the opportunities, and I'm not going to do that. But to wrap it up, I've got a few more slides, so I'm going to try to go faster. But the thing I would say is that your student can do the CETC program, which has welding and law and auto and agriculture. We also have programs at the Innovation Center where they can do robotics and biomedical sciences. So this is why it's really important to see if you can set up meetings with your student's counselor so they can give you all that individual class guidance. So the other big thing, depending on the age of your student, but I think if you have younger children as well, but as soon as they start high school, you really want to encourage them to be involved in school. So that means joining sports, joining clubs, and doing any sort of leadership opportunities that they can while they're there. We at Mead High School, so again, every school is a little different, but we really try to get every single student involved in something, so that way they can build up their resume, because colleges and scholarship organizations want to see that you're involved, so that way you can be ready, and they want to know the college is like, why would I take this student? They want to see that you're involved in the community and that they're going to be involved on the college campus. So the more that they have activities, the better they are going to be just doing it. The more involved they are, usually the better their grades are. And this is similar, it's just the best way to get scholarships, which a lot of people want, is to be involved and have that resume. So the students who typically have access to the most money, scholarship money, are the ones who are most involved with their community in some fashion. So volunteering or being involved at their school. So the last few pieces of what I wanted to stress for your students is, what does college mean? And for your high school counselor, your student's counselor, we're going to think of college in four different ways. So we're going to think of it as a 2-year or a 4-year school. So a 2-year like Front Range or Ames Community College. And then a 4-year school like Colorado State University or the University of Colorado Boulder. So we have a ton of colleges in Colorado. We also have a trade program. So if your student wants to go into cosmetology or HVAC, welding, plumbing, that is still considered college because they need advanced training. We also talk to them about joining the military, which will train them in specific areas. And then finally, we talk to them about starting work directly and what kind of work they want to do and what training they'll need to move forward. So I know Front Range is here tonight, they're going to talk to you about all their opportunities, but when we talk with our students, we point out that if they want to do any of these trades, they should be attending a 2-year school, not only for the cost savings, but because it's a really excellent education, and they don't need to attend a 4-year university. They can start their training immediately. Some colleges, like Colorado Mountain College, is a 2-year school that also offers 4-year degrees. So this is, again, meeting with your students counselor, and they can give you all of those opportunities. And the last thing I really want to stress to families is it is never too late and it's never too early to start saving for college. So I just want to tell you a 30-second piece. I actually went to Heritage, this was Heritage, and I went to Spangler Elementary, which is gone. And then I graduated from Skyline. So I went through this whole system. My family we had no money growing up, like nothing. And I wish I would have understood how to save, and I wish my family would have known this. And even if my parents would have been able to save $20 a month for me and my siblings, which would have been hard, it would have probably made a big difference for us. And only in the last few years, 3 years, did my husband and I were we able to financially start saving for our 3 children. So I say this to you as somebody who has really experienced it and understands it, that it can feel overwhelming to start saving for your children. But if you can put away even $10, $15 a month, even if it's in a savings account at your bank, it will make a difference, because that can mean 1 free class or 2 free classes for your student when they go to college. The district has, if you have any children or friends who have children who are in kindergarten, 1st or 2nd or 3rd grade, the district has a partnership with St. Graham Education Foundation. And the district, not the district, but the Education Foundation, will start a savings account. If you start the savings account, they will contribute $50 to it for every kid in the district, from kindergarten to 3rd grade. But if you have older children, you yourself can start saving, and there's this company that is free, and it's called College Invest. And College Invest means you create an account, and whatever money you put in, they will invest it, but they will also allow you, then your student has access to that money when they go to college. It can be that money, let's say your student decides to go into the military and they don't want to go to college, that's fine. But you have a sibling, or they have a sibling, they can use the account. So the other nice thing about this is that the state of Colorado with College Invest, they will match $500. So if you put $500 a year in, they will match another $500 for you if your children, and there's a certain age requirement. But you do have a financial qualification where you have to make under a certain income. But I will just tell you, my husband and I, we're both educators, we qualify. So most families qualify for this. If your child would qualify or your children qualify for free or reduced lunch, you will get the $500 matched. So if you think about that, if you can put 500 in and the state puts 500 in, that's $1,000 for your student for up to 5 years. So it's a really great deal. I really want everybody to know about this. These are links, you guys can check it out. But I would really encourage you, even if you can't qualify for the matching grant, I would really encourage you to start saving for college. Because it's not just to get them at their first year of college, it's to get them through 2 or 4 years. And they can use it at trade programs. You can use it for rent, college expenses. So there's a lot of opportunity. So I've gone over and I'm trying to go slow, but yes.
I have 2 college investments for my granddaughter.
Yes.
So I'm not understanding what you're saying about $500. Is that per year or is that throughout the year?
So that's a great question. It's $500 per year for up to 5 years. And so that's a really great, so if you have grandchildren or your grandparents can use, my in-laws set up accounts for our 3 children. So there's a lot of opportunity for family to help contribute. Are there any other questions for my part?
So, I open an account for my daughter and then my mom can open one too, and then.
Yes.
And they'll get the.
They'll get both.
double.
I don't know if they will, I don't know that grandparents get the $500 match because they're not direct dependents, so that I'm not aware. Because depending on its income, I'm not sure that they will match that, but that's something you could research. I just know with my husband and I, it will be matched. Any other questions about, or anything I can help answer?
I'm just gonna do some quick math, so if you did the 500 every year, you'd be putting in $2,500.
And then it's matched.
And then they match you $2,500, so you got $5,000 saved.
Right, which is almost a full year at our range, correct? Depending on the program, so that's 1 full year for free. So the other last piece, I don't have it up here, is if your student I would definitely, they're gonna talk about concurrent enrollment, right? So I would highly recommend that you talk to your student's counselor when they talk about concurrent enrollment. That's one of the other best ways for your student to save money, which are high school classes while they're in college. And then that helps move the costs down the line as well. So if you have any questions, I do have to leave to go get my son to basketball practice. But again, my name is Mara, and I'm at Meade High School. And even if you do not attend Meade High School or your students don't, please, you can always reach out to me. And I'm happy to meet with any family at any time. So thank you so much.
Gracias, Nara. Y Nara fue mi consejera en México.
Yeah.
Oh, and these are things that tips for them, so they can have that later.
Okay. Y aquí tenemos unos folletos con unos consejos si quieren ahorita para. Are you starting in English, Esme? Or Spanish? Okay. Okay. Ya estamos listos para darle la bienvenida a Front Range Community College, que van a presentar el resto de esta sesión. Tenemos también parte de nuestro equipo de PAI, representantes que son Esme y María. Así que un aplauso, ellos también nos ayudan aquí en nuestras sesiones y trabajan con estudiantes latinos, muchas que van a presentar ahorita también con el grupo de estudiantes latinos, así que Ellos trabajan aquí en el Boulder County campus y los dos para que también se introducción.
Hello, my name is Esme Rosas-Mendez. I'm an adult learner recruiter here at the Boulder County campus. And I will pass it to Maria real quick.
Hi, I'll be doing both Spanish and English, so to the rugby. I am the bilingual Spanish teacher, high school teacher at the Boulder campus. One of those members, Maria Martinez, yo trabajo en campus de Boulder, soy la representante de los estudiantes de la secundaria y soy, hablo español en inglés.
All right, so first we're going to discuss concurrent enrollment. So has anybody heard of concurrent enrollment here? All right. Well, hopefully by the end of the night, you guys know about concurrent enrollment and you take advantage of this opportunity in high school. So with concurrent enrollment, this is when your high school student can go ahead and do high school credit and college credit. So they're able to do college classes in high school and earn both those credits. So with that being said, a lot of these classes are going to be guaranteed transfer classes. So while they're earning those college credits in high school, they're actually going to transfer to a lot of our Colorado State universities and community colleges here. And then as well as how that works here is that St. Croix Valley School District does pay for your students' tuition here. So it's really nice to be able to get your students started for college, and those classes are going to be free for students to take. I do know that they do have you pay for fees and as well as textbooks, but that still is a big cost reduction compared to actually paying for that tuition. And then as well as once the students in there, they're able to actually have student resources. So they can come to Front Range and get free tutoring for that class, counseling, we have a food pantry. So they do get those benefits starting in high school as an FRCC student.
Okay, so what options do you have with the concurrent enrollment? So you are able to take classes either in Front Range campuses, either high school departments, and then also online. So you can have those two different options. There's also the PTEC program, where students take high school graduation requirements and they get their associate differently. And then bear with us, we are doing, Kazaya is the representative for concurrent enrollment. So this is a presentation, so we're just kind of going over it. And then I also want to highlight the PTEC, that is as guidelines in high school, that is a computer information system program for the associate of applied science. And then there's also the ACTA program, which is something new. If you have any questions about this, we recommend talking to your high school counselor.
And just to let you know about the asset program, it's actually going to be rolling in. I don't know when, but that is a great opportunity for students. If they take 9 credit hours, I do believe within the 9th grade to 12th grade, they're able to get that first year of college absolutely free without tuition costs. So that is a great opportunity for students. I always encourage students to take concurrent enrollment. It could be a communications class, English class, just something that they're really interested in.
We have a question online. For a student who is obtaining concurrent enrollment, do they send something for end of year tax purposes as proof they attended?
That's a good question, and unfortunately, I do not know the answer, but we can definitely send the information of Kazaya and then be able to give you that answer.
Okay. For a student who is obtaining concurrent enrollment, do they send something for end of year tax purposes as proof they attended? Okay, I'll put that in the chat. Thank you.
You're gonna all right. So now we're going to actually do our presentation. Well, just to point out, this is actually Keziah's information right here. So she would be the one, she's the coordinator for the St. George Valley School District. So she would be the one to know a little bit more about each information or the information here for St. George Valley School District on concurrent enrollment. But I would like to point out that you should definitely reach out to high school counselors because they will know more about that program in your specific school. Yeah. Thank you, Sophie. So now we're going to actually start with our Front Range Community College basic presentation. We're going to do it in both English and Spanish. So I will be doing English and then Maria will go ahead and translate it to Spanish. So we have benefits at community college.
Is she gonna be saying the same thing you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so I.
Is it good? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
not right now.
So a lot of the benefits of the community college is that we have those small class sizes. So the small class sizes, right now, we're averaging about 15 to 25 students there. Really beneficial for those first classes that you are going to take. So you have a lot of those prerequisite classes, for example, like English, science, and you're going to get more one-on-one time with an instructor. We also have the benefit of we do cost less than going to a university. So going to a university, the tuition is a lot more higher just because there are a lot more benefits there. Oftentimes, they have their gyms, they have a lot of amenities. They actually eat there and they live there. But as for Front Range, we're a commuter campus. So it's really nice to just be able to go home wherever home is for you and still get that education that you need. We are open admission, so with open admission, everyone's accepted. The application is absolutely free, and it's good for 3 consecutive semesters. Our classes are transferable as well, so that means that the credits that you earn here at Front Range, they are guaranteed transfer. Most of them are guaranteed transfers to Colorado State universities. And then as well as we do have a lot of certificate programs, which you can get started with 2 years or less. And that is just some of the benefits, but there's so much more.
¿Cuáles son los beneficios de una escuela comunitaria? Los beneficios son que las clases son más pequeñas, usualmente son de 17 a 25 estudiantes. Entonces el estudiante puede comunicarse con el profesor más fácil, puede entender profesores con el uno. En los colegios de 4 años, usualmente esas clases que todos los estudiantes tienen que tener, hay como centros de 100 o más. Una de todo el libro es un poquito más difícil tener esa relación con el profesor. También cuesta mucho menos, vamos a poner información sobre el costo, pero cuesta mucho menos que la universidad de 4 años. Las clases que toman se pueden transferir a los estudiantes de 4 años muy fácilmente y tenemos un programa que se llama Bridge to Bachelor, que hace el proceso mucho más fácil para los estudiantes. Nuestra aplicación está abierta todo el año y se aplica para los estudiantes, son más de unos 20 minutos y todos son aceptados. Y pueden empezar con su carrera más rápido porque obtienen sus resultados y con los que están estudiando.
Next slide, please. All right, so understanding credits. So credits are a lot different than going into high school. So with that being said, oftentimes a lot of our general classes like English, social or English history are going to be 3 credit hours, which just means the amount of time that you're in the classroom. So usually what that looks like is that if it's a 3 credit hour class, they're going to go ahead and be in a classroom setting for at least 3 hours that week. So it could be, split up into 1.5, so 1.5 hours, twice a week. But also we do have maths and science classes that range from 5 to 4 credits. So those are going to be a lot more credits just because there's a lot more time to be put in there, and as well as labs. And just to let you know, about like credits, with credits, right now, 6 credits would be part-time on front range, and then 12 credits or more will be, full-time. So that's really a benefit, just because like when you go to a university, oftentimes they do have you start at like 17 credits, but at front range, you can be full-time, at 12 credits, really beneficial for you, especially when you're applying for like financial aid and such.
¿Cómo son los créditos universitarios? Los créditos básicamente significan las horas que van a estar en la clase. Por ejemplo, si una clase son 3 créditos, van a estar en esa clase 3 horas por semana. Las clases están de 1 a 5 créditos, las clases que van a ser más créditos como de 4 o 5 van a ser las de matemáticas y ciencias, porque es la clase y luego el laboratorio después, entonces están ahí un poquito más tiempo. Los estudiantes que son de tiempo completo van a tener 12 a 15 créditos, que usualmente vienen siendo de las 5 clases, y los estudiantes de tiempo parcial van a tener 6 a 5 créditos o 2 o 3 clases al semestre. El semestre es de 15 semanas y son las clases para su profesión y también clases que no necesariamente son la profesión.
All right, and then we just wanted to go ahead and show you how that would really look like. So with that being said, a lot of times when it says 2 years, people think that they will finish in 2 years, but it really depends on what your pace is at. So for example, if you wanted to be a part-time student, you can do 6 credits every semester, but that just means that it's just gonna take a little bit longer than going full-time. So just like, for example, if you did like 15 credits for 4 semesters, then you would be able to complete that 60 credits faster than you would do it as being a part-time student.
So un ejemplo que consideraría un estudiante de tiempo completo puede terminar su asociado en 2 años, o puede hacer 15 créditos por semestre por 2 años y tomar el verano de descanso, o puede hacer 12 créditos por semestre por 2 años, y eso hace sus 60 créditos que necesita para su asociado. O también puede ser un estudiante de tiempo parcial que toma un poquito más tiempo, pero eso está bien. Y serían más o menos como 6 créditos cada semestre.
All right, and then at front range, we do divide our programs into career and academic communities. So these are just a list that we do have here, and we will go through examples of each.
En París tenemos tenemos las los programas que tenemos en París los dividimos entre como los programas que son más o menos lo mismo.
All right, so here we do have, like a lot of healthcare programs here. So specifically at the Boulder County campus, I would like to address our emergency medical service training, and then as well as our medical assisting, and then phlebotomy. Oh, And then right here, we also have a lot of technology and business right here. And as you can see, this is our first time doing like a bilingual presentation, so please bear with us.
Bueno, yo iba a decir inglés. Entonces, en el lado de ciencias y de salud y beneficios, tenemos todo lo que está en más negro va a estar en el campus de Boulder y lo demás va a estar en Westminster o Fort Collins. Pero el Boulder nos está por allá, pero por Virginia. No sé si vamos a pero es cuando está California. También tenemos el técnico de emergencia médica y en tecnología y negocios tenemos tecnología, negocios y contabilidad.
Perfect. All right, and then right here, we do have a lot of our general associates of arts. So that's going to be, well, a lot of our students do to be able to transfer those 60 credits from front range to 60 credits to that university. But we also have, for example, we have those 2 years with like associates of science going for math and science.
Entonces aquí tenemos el asociado de artes y ciencias. Este va a ser el asociado que les puede agarrar para transferirse para un proyecto de 4 años.
And then here we do have a lot of certificate programs as well. So with that being said, here at the Boulder County campus, we do have a Center for Integrated Manufacturing. And a lot of those programs that we offer are certificates there, like optics is a really growing field, and as well as we do have machining here. Oh, and then just to show you right here, we also have general associates of arts and a lot of languages here, so be able to transfer.
Y también tenemos en el tecnología y fabricación y diseño, el que nos gusta subrayar es tecnología óptica. Está en el campus de Boulder, está como a 5 minutos de donde están nuestras oficinas. Y también tenemos mecánica y en lo de artes y comunicación tenemos los lenguajes.
So those were all our current academic communities. So now we're actually going to talk about something really interesting, and that's another way to be able to pay for college as well. So we do have a lot of apprenticeships, and I do believe it's growing. So with apprenticeships, have anyone heard of them or anything? All right. So with that being said, so a lot of times with these apprenticeships, we do have Sheena Martin, and she's in charge of those. And with that being said, she would go ahead and be able to connect students with employers that are hiring. So they would hire the person, they would go through a hiring process, and once they're hired on, then the employer would be able to like pay for their education. So it's really nice to be able to have those employers pay for their education and those students already have those jobs. So a lot of times with the apprenticeships, for example, at the Center for Integrated Manufacturing, I know that Krista Mortensen, she gives the example of that oftentimes they even pay for that student to be in the class, getting prepared for their workforce.
Pero me habla sobre el modelo de aprendizaje. Eso significa que el estudiante puede trabajar y ganar dinero a la persona que es estudiante. Es contratado por el empleado y puede poner su práctica ahí mismo en la clase y en el trabajo. También casi todos están registrados con el Departamento de Trabajo de Estados Unidos. Y lo más difícil es el estudiante allí y agarrar certificados, lo más que le van a pagar. Y le más está de ganar estos papeles porque en realidad los estudiantes a veces ellos van a tener que buscar.
And then we just like to highlight the academic support that we do have on front page. So with that being said, we do have our academic advisors, which as new students, you're required to meet with them just to be able to go over your academic plan and to set up those first classes. We always encourage you to go ahead and meet with your academic advisor every semester though, just to make sure you're on the right track. We have office hours for our instructors, so really beneficial to be able to have more one-on-one time with instructors and be able to work on a project or to speak about an assignment. We have our academic success center, so free tutoring for students. We have writing lab, which they are able to help you from start to finish of your papers. We have the math lab, which is an instructor there, willing to be able to assist you with those homeworks. And then we have our librarian. So our librarian is a resource as well. My librarian is very kind, and he would be able to help you with that research, bibliography. So I definitely let students know that there's resources to help you be successful in college.
Entonces, la ayuda que ofrecemos en Provincial College son los asesores de caminos o asesores de caminos. Ellos ayudan a los estudiantes a saber qué planes necesitan tomar, qué necesitan para su carrera y el plan específico de ellos. He recibido que los estudiantes se reúnan con el consejero académico cuando el estudiante finaliza, pero después de eso nosotros aconsejamos que ellos sigan el consejero para que estén en el camino correcto. También hay horarios de los instructores, en los horarios los estudiantes pueden usar para ir a preguntar las preguntas, necesitan ayudas con material que pueden ir a los niños. Y también hay estudiantes suplementos, significa que son estudiantes que han tomado esta clase y tienen una buena calificación, so saben cómo la clase, qué es lo que nos escribe de ellos, entonces ellos pueden ayudar a los estudiantes. También tenemos el centro de éxito académico, ahí los estudiantes pueden ir a conseguir ayuda en matemáticas, escribiendo un ensayo. Hay personas que nos pueden ayudar y también ofrecemos tutoriales gratuitos a los estudiantes y también en cada biblioteca hay bibliotecarios que pueden ayudar a los estudiantes también con las investigaciones que necesitan para el examen.
And then just to highlight some of our student support services. So we do have a TRIO student support service, which is going to be for students first generation, limited income, and or if they have a documented disability. So oftentimes students with like 504s, IEPs in high school are encouraged to go ahead and apply for that as well. But with TRIO, like they do have success coaches to be able to help and support you throughout your semester. They have de-stressing activities, and as well as they really just help that student, specifically if they're first generation, and they don't have that support, they are that support for that student. And then personal counseling, so we have our mental health counselor at Boulder County campus for first serve with students. We have our career and success, career success center. So we have our career and transfer counselor, which she is amazing. She would be able to do a couple appointments with you and help you to take tests to be able to see what you actually want to pursue if you're undecided. And as well as she's great when you want to transfer to help you get connected with admissions. We have disability support services, so you're able to transfer like 504 IEP in high school to a higher education setting. They see what works in high school, what didn't work in high school, and they can see, they can discuss like accommodations in a higher education setting with you. What's really beneficial is that there are so many classes that a student takes every semester, and this team, this department actually reaches out on the student's behalf to make sure those accommodations are being set for them. And then we have veteran services. So anybody who is a veteran or is a dependent of veterans would be meeting with our veteran advisors to be able to make sure that they get the assistance for that GI bill benefits.
Ahora, todos los servicios de apoyo para el estudiante está el programa TRIO, que es un servicio que apoya al estudiante que en primera generación tiene una discapacidad limitada o de limitados recursos. Este programa ayuda a los estudiantes durante todo el proceso coverage y si se tiene facilidad a diferentes planos, también les ayuda en este proceso. También hay asesoramiento personal, todo el estudiante puede ir a nuestro colegio. El centro de éxito profesional les ayuda con aplicaciones y prepararse para entrevistas también. El servicio de apoyo para discapacidades, para discapacidades, ahí ayudan a los estudiantes a abogar por ellos con los profesores, porque tienen ya una responsabilidad en el PAR4 o el IEP. Ellos pueden hablar con ellos y pueden abogar por ellos con los profesores. También tenemos el servicio de federal, entonces si hay alguien que está realmente en el servicio o el familiar de alguien, pueden también hablar con ellos y hablar a ellos.
And then college costs. So we are going to touch on this briefly, but with tuition, right now it's about $2,500 per semester on campus. And that is with the College Opportunity Fund, which is just a stipend. So you do get a reduced cost. It's a discount of $160 per credit hour right now. And you just get that just for being a Colorado resident. And when you apply to Front Range, we actually ask to apply on your behalf. So that is something that you're able to do while you apply with Front Range. Just to let you know about College Opportunity Fund, though, you always have to authorize it every semester, and that is something that we're always able to assist at the front desk or with admissions as well. We oftentimes with books and materials, they can get very pricey. So they could be $500 oftentimes per semester or lower. But with that being said, we always encourage students to actually go ahead and see online and order like used books, maybe rent a book, just to keep those costs down.
El costo de Private Community College es aproximadamente $2,500 por semestre, pero hay ayuda que hablar sobre COP, que es el Colorado Opportunity Fund. Este es un descuento para los estudiantes que parece que necesitan como $16 por crédito. Y cuando hacen la aplicación de Fundage, ellos preguntan la pregunta que dice, sí, por favor, apliquen por mí. Entonces, cuando escogen el curso, les quitan este descuento. Y también algo que me gusta mencionar es el costo de materiales de libros, aproximadamente $500 por semestre, pero hay otros maneras de conseguir sus libros, como rentarlos o comprarlos usados.
All right, and sorry. So when can you start? So we just listed up our start dates here for semester. So we have summer, well, first of all, we have fall, spring, and summer. So our next semester is going to be summer. Right now, for summer and fall, we do open up March 18th. So very soon here. So if you have a student that's graduating this May and wants to go in the fall, I would definitely encourage them to start thinking about applying, and then as well as registering for classes sooner rather than later. So with having time to register for classes, they have more opportunity to decide like a class schedule that's tailored to them rather than just taking classes that maybe don't fit their schedule.
So en Private Community College tenemos diferentes semestres. Tenemos un semestre en la primavera, verano y otoño. Estos son los siguientes semestres que vienen. So el verano es de 10 semanas y las clases empiezan el 18 de mayo. Y para el otoño, las clases empiezan el 19 de agosto. Si tienen estudiantes que están en high school, no están mirando más el semestre de otoño. Yo no decimos que sería mejor aplicar lo más pronto posible para poder escoger las clases que uno quiere.
And then this is just our information right here. So with Maria, like if you are a high school student or need Spanish speaking, Maria is able to assist you. So we do take appointments, but also if you're ever on campus and you just need assistance, you can always come to our office to see if we're available. And then as well as I'm the adult learner recruiter, so I help students who are outside of high school and looking to get back into college.
Entonces, este es nuestro contacto. Mi contacto es María Vida, yo soy la escuela española en admisiones. Si tienen preguntas, me pueden preguntar a mí. Yo trabajo con estudiantes de la ciudad secundaria y yo trabajo con adultos o si alguien quiere empezar su carrera, pueden hacer una cita con ellos o alguien de nuestro departamento siempre está ahí para ayudar.
Now we have financial aid. We have Rachel right here.
Could we do Q&A first in case anyone has questions? Q&A for you guys? Yeah, if anyone has questions.
Antes de que Rachel empiece a tener preguntas, before Rachel begins, does anybody have questions for us?
Nada más quería aclarar un punto que cuando hablan de Boulder Campus es el que está aquí, ¿no?
Sí, entonces Cambridge tiene dos diferentes campos, tiene Boulder, que está prácticamente en Norfolk, tenemos en Cambridge y Fort Collins y también en línea. So his question was, when you say Boulder campus, is that in Lockmart? Yes, we have two different campuses. We have one in Lockmart, which is technically called the Boulder campus, and then we have one in Westminster and Fort Collins as well as online classes.
You have a lot of students that enroll in a four-year college, but take classes at front range.
Yeah, so they would be considered guest students. So with that, they do have like a streamlined application. So they're able to actually be enrolled into their university. But oftentimes you see that in summer, where they'll come and take like a class or two. They apply as a guest student, and that just makes sure that they're not having to have that new student hold, so that you're not required to meet with an advisor. But if they do want to, they also have that option as well.
And what would be the benefit?
Benefit of doing that specifically is that they will be closer to home. So oftentimes students from universities come home from break and maybe they take on a job or maybe they want to go ahead and take another class just to get ahead of their degree as well. So it's really nice for them to actually have time to or a community college that they can come to, and then they can transfer that credit back to their university.
And the cost.
I was gonna say, but
Oh, yeah, the cost for sure.
Esme, I don't know if you touched on this, but like, can you kind of explain like a traditional schedule? Like, I know it's different when it's like a shock when students transfer to like university and they only go to classes either Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. Can you like touch on that a little bit?
So oftentimes, oh,
sorry, are you gonna include that? But do you want to
Oh, no, I want to explain.
There's a lot going on in English.
Yeah, that's what.
yeah, yes, please.
De escuela para ir a la universidad, sí, a lo que sí, y cuál sería el beneficio para los cuál es el beneficio de esto, de muchos que trabajan, algunos estudiantes cuando las universidades, entonces es bueno para hacer, pueden encontrar que tenemos entonces eso nos ayuda financieramente para que no tengamos que estar pagando menor.
All right, so we're talking about students coming from high school and how that is different from their class schedule in high school to going into a college. So like I mentioned before, there are students who are taking part-time classes or full-time classes. And at that range, and like at universities as well, oftentimes they have like a Monday, Wednesday schedule, Tuesday, Thursday. Sometimes they have like 3 days, really dependent on that. But oftentimes, with students, they like select what works for them. So for example, if a student has possibly maybe a full-time status and they have a Monday, Wednesday schedule, they would most likely just go to those classes, for that Monday, Wednesday. And then they wouldn't go to classes for like Tuesday, Thursday, for example. But it doesn't mean that they don't have any outside homework. So a lot of your class time, is going to be a lot, reviewing and also learning more information. But you have a lot of outside work. So with that being said, you're actually going to, be spending more time doing work outside rather than inside of the classroom. So very important that you do have that great time management, so that you're able to get all your work done. Any other questions? Well, then we can go ahead and bring Rachel up. She's a part of financial aid and she's our financial aid advisor at the Boulder County Campus.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Patrick, and I'm a financial aid advisor at Front Range here at the Boulder County campus. I also grew up in this community. Like Maura, I went to Spangler, Heritage, and Skyline. So I'm really familiar with this area, and I'm happy to be here to give back to the community. So what we're going to talk about today is financial aid, how you can find ways to pay for college, and get help in that aspect. So I'm going to go over each of these types of financial aid individually, but just so you have some general information, we're going to go over grants. We're going to go over the different types of student loans, work study, and scholarships. Okay, so most people, when they think about financial aid, the first thing that comes to mind is going to be grants. Grants are free money that generally don't have to be repaid. A little bit later, we'll get into how to apply for these grants. It's going to be through the FAFSA. And they're going to be awarded to students based off their need. So unlike scholarships, which can be merit-based, grants are solely awarded based off need. I do have a couple of grants listed here. The federal Pell Grant, that's the one that comes to mind most often for students. But there's also different grants depending on what type of aid you qualify for. And then the next type of financial aid are federal student loans. Loans can be a way for you to fund your education if you need to. Keep in mind with loans that these are borrowed money that have to be repaid back with interest later. So if you do have to use loans, we advise students to only use what you need. Oftentimes, especially at Front Range, because we have lower costs, you're going to be offered more loans than you need. You don't have to accept the full amount. You can decline your loans or you can just accept a portion of them. If you don't know how to do that once you get into school, that's what my job's for. That's what I'm here to help you with, so I can help you with that as well. And there's a couple different types of loans that we're going to talk about. So the first loan is going to be the direct subsidized loan. This one is need-based. And this loan, the Department of Education will pay your interest on this loan while you're in school. So if you do find yourself in a position where you do have to take out loan funding, ideally you want to use this one first. And then there's also the unsubsidized loan. This one is not need-based, so anybody can qualify for this one. And the students will be responsible for the interest that accrues while you're in school.
What does that mean? Does that mean I just pay the interest while I'm going to school?
So while you're in school, you don't have to pay anything on the loan, but it's still the unsubsidized will still accrue that interest while you're in school. Whereas the subsidized loan, you also don't have to pay that while you're in school, but it's not going to accrue any interest. So if you pay that loan back before you graduate, you're not paying any extra when you borrow. And then there's the direct plus loan, oftentimes referred to as the parent plus loan. This is often used if students need to supplement their funds for school. So let's say their school is paid for by their subsidized or unsubsidized loan, but they need money to get an apartment, live off campus. Parents can take out extra loans for that. We don't see this often at the community college level. A lot more universities with higher costs, they tend to see those loans a lot more.
Do you pay that while the student is going to school?
So those ones, there is an option for you to opt out of paying it until they graduate. But it will accrue interest as well. And with both the subsidized and unsubsidized loan, like I said, you don't have to pay until after you graduate. They give you a 6-month grace period. If, let's say, you go to Front Range, you take out a loan, you graduate, then you go to a university, it's still going to stay deferred until you graduate from that university. So you have time to pay that off later.
Sorry, are the interest rates based on your credit score, or are they standardized across the different loan structures?
That's a great question. So they're standardized for the subsidized and unsubsidized loan each year. So this current school year, 23-24, they have a fixed interest rate of 5.5%. So that means that if you take out a loan this year, that interest will stay the same over the lifetime of the loan. The parent plus loans, those ones do tend to have higher interest rates. I believe right now it's 8.9%. So ideally, if you do find yourself having to take out a loan, like I said, subsidized is the way to go. Just because you're not having to pay interest on your loans.
And just for like context, a credit card loan right now is anywhere from 19% to 29% interest. You know, it's much better than a credit card loan, but also not good.
Yes, exactly. And I have had students who have come up to me and they have said, well, can I just put my bill on a credit card? And I really do advise against that because like I said, you don't pay it off right away, you're going to be paying a lot more for your school in the long run. Does anybody have any other questions on loans?
Thank you. I'm sorry, can you repeat that? The rates loan, what does that mean?
Yeah, so when you do your FAFSA, it's going to help us determine what type of aid you qualify for. So if you're within like certain income ranges, or if you have a really large household, you'll tend to qualify for more need-based aid. So that subsidized loan is considered need-based because the Department of Education will help pay that interest while you're in school. Does that help answer your question?
How do they assess that?
So that they have a formula that they use. So every year you're going to fill out a FAFSA when you go to school. And the FAFSA is going to take your and your parents' income as well as their assets, and dependents into consideration. And then they're going to give you an index number. The index number is going to tell us if you fall in the range to qualify for grants, if you fall in the range to qualify for loan, if you fall in the range to qualify for work study. So it's highly individualized each student. These are really great questions.
But if I can just emphasize the fact that same grade does offer capsonites or capsonites, so just to be aware of it, whenever they come up with high school, putting that event together.
Yes.
It's great for them to attend so that they can find out a little more about what this means and the closer at the next level, getting ready for whether it's community college or community.
Yes, and that's a great point. A lot of high schools do put on FAFSA nights. I've been to 2 FAFSA nights at Meade High School in Frederick this year. And they basically, we come out, we do a presentation, and then we work with you one-on-one to do these FAFSAs. Because we know that it can be kind of daunting when you're looking at it for the first time. You're going onto a government website, putting in a lot of information. We also have at Front Range FAFSA nights as well. And at the end of the presentation, I have our nights listed. So even if your student isn't going to go to Front Range, you can still come to the Front Range FAFSA nights. We will help you with that. And I can't remember if I just said this or not, but you'll want to talk to your high school counselor to find out what the FAFSA nights are in the schools in your area. Okay, now we're going to get into work study. So this is another type of financial aid. What work study is, it's also awarded through the FAFSA. So if you check on your FAFSA that you want to get work study, then it'll send it to the school and we can qualify you to use work study funds. What that means is you get a part-time job on campus and you earn some of your financial aid through work. This is a really great opportunity because we're able to work around your school schedule and you can gain valuable work experiences and make connections on your campus. And there's a lot of different departments throughout all colleges, not just Front Range, that offer work study. When I was in college, I went to CSU and I did work study in residence life. And then here at Front Range, we have work study students in financial aid, registrar, to get admission past them. Pretty much in every department will have work study. And instead of the work study funds being applied to your bill, they get paid out to you in a paycheck. So it works exactly like a job does. The money just comes from the Department of Education. And then we're going to talk about scholarships. So scholarships are free money that you don't have to pay back that you can use for your education. One thing to keep in mind is most scholarships open 6 to 9 months in advance as to when you're going to start school. If you're planning to attend Front Range in this upcoming school year, so fall 2024, we have our scholarship application open right now until March 1st. It's going to be the same for a lot of other schools. A lot of them will have like March 1st or April 1st deadlines for the upcoming year. So if anybody here is planning to go to Front Range next year, come talk to me before you leave and I'll make sure you get set up with that application. There's a lot of great places you can look for scholarships. So the first place we advise you to start is your high school counselor. They're going to have a list of scholarships that you can apply for. And then you're going to want to look into the school you're attending. Like I said, Front Range, you're going to go to CSU, CU, you're going to want to look on their website. You can also look in your community. Some local businesses and organizations will have scholarships as well. And online. So you can look at online resources. One example that we see a lot of scholarships come from is FastWeb. They're a scholarship search engine, so you fill in your information and quote what's applicable to you, and then they'll have a list of scholarships that you qualify. Anybody have any questions on scholarships?
Is there a registry somewhere where I can find all the scholarships that exist that my students can apply for?
There's a lot of registries out there. There's not just one that I recommend, but like I said, FastWeb is a great place to start. collegescholarships.org, College in Colorado. We also just recently started getting a lot of scholarships from bold.org. That's a new one, so it's not many students know about it yet. So there's a lot of that are coming in from there too.
That was the school council is also help. If you have a deadline for the plan, you need to apply for the registration, and all information that is not huge, it's just going to the council and making sure that we find out not deadlines and all the lists and all the resources.
Yes. Yep, definitely go to your high school counselor to get all this information too. Okay. So you heard me talk a lot about the FAFSA. So what the FAFSA is, this is the free application for federal student aid. This is what's going to determine if you qualify for those grants, if you qualify for loans, if you qualify for work study. It's completed electronically at studentaid.gov. You and your student will have to each make an account, and it's going to be filled out every year you go to school. It's going to ask questions about you, your family, your finances. So it's going to take your income information, your assets, how many people are in your household, stuff like that. So one example is right now, we are currently in the 2023 to 2024 school year. That is happening through the summer semester. And that application uses 2021 tax information. In the upcoming 24-25 FAFSA, you have students going to school next year. That one's going to use 2022 tax information. The reason it uses that year's tax info is because when that application opened, that was the only tax form that would have been completed at that time. And there have been a lot of changes made to this upcoming FAFSA. So we schools have seen a lot of delays with students being able to submit the application as well as schools receiving them. If you are worried about not being able to complete your FAFSA right now, a lot of schools are pushing out their deadlines and working on expanding stuff like that. Just because we found out recently that schools aren't going to be receiving your FAFSA for next year until mid-March. So a lot of schools will push out their decision times where you have to give them a decision and stuff like that.
What would you recommend, like, a parent do if they're freaking out? Like, should they call the admissions office where their students enrolled, or the financial aid office? Or
Yeah.
how would they?
Yep, so if you were worried about not being able to get your FAFSA in time, I would reach out. This is going to be mostly for universities that have strict deadlines with things. I would reach out to their admissions office to see if they're pushing back those decision times. I know with like CSU and CU, you have to give them a decision by a certain date. Whereas for Rand, we're open enrollment, so you can really enroll, apply and enroll classes at the day they start. So it doesn't affect community colleges as much as it is going to affect those universities. So definitely get in contact with that admissions office.
¿Qué pregunta? ¿Cómo les tienen cuenta de banco antes de una beca les afecta eso también?
If your student has a bank account before they apply for that, does that, how does that work for the student? Does it affect them?
If they have like money in their bank account?
Yeah.
So that is a question that it will ask on the FAFSA. It will ask them how much money they have as of today in their bank account.
Esa es una de las preguntas que van a estar en la solicitud cuando usted vaya a aplicarlo y pregunta, ¿usted tiene una cuenta de banco? ¿Cuánto tiene una cuenta de banco?
So is it better for them to have a bank account for them, or
Entonces sería mejor que él está preguntando, ¿sería mejor que el estudiante no tenga una cuenta de banco o que si tiene una cuenta de banco que saquen el dinero?
In my experience, a lot of times when students are coming out of high school, their income doesn't make much of a difference on the FAFSA. It's primarily going to be the parents' income that makes the real difference. So if they do have money in a bank account, it will be on the FAFSA and it will be noted, but it may not make that big difference.
Eso dice que sí, en mi experiencia, por lo que he visto, no hace mucha diferencia si el estudiante tiene dinero en cuenta de banco, porque la mayoría de las veces los estudiantes cuando salen de la preparatoria no tienen mucho dinero. Lo que pueden hablar es lo que tienen los papás y cuánto hacen los padres. Or is that the bank account is under her name with her son? So it's a joint account. So does that?
I would probably put that, if the majority of the funds are coming from the parent, I would put that on the parent's portion, but either way, it's still gonna be reported on the FAFSA.
Okay, sí, eso ella lo reportaría en la parte de los padres, como su parte, en vez de la parte del estudiante, para que, pero eso igualmente va a estar, reflejarse en la solicitud.
And real quick, just before I get to the next question, I did want to clarify, if you have a 529 account, that is not counted in FAFSA because that is not funds that you can access at that moment. It's only on the FAFSA once those funds get spent, which would be future years.
¿Qué pasa si el estudiante se ha independizado de sus padres
Todavía se tomaría en cuenta los ingresos de los padres a pesar de que este joven ya no tiene nada que ver con sus padres.
So what about if the student is completely independent from the parents? And, the parent does not have any financial, no tiene ninguna responsabilidad financiera, el padre. ¿O sí?
El joven es independizado de sus padres hace muchos años, mucho antes de que fuera mayor de edad.
Okay, if the student is independent from the parent, like even way before they were, 18 years old.
So it really depends if it's gonna be a each student situation. With the FAFSA itself, they're gonna want you to use your parents' information until you're 24 years old. Now,
And this is, oh, okay. Depende.
there are situations that can be considered as special circumstances, but if generally if the student is still in contact with their parents until they're 24, they do still have to put that information on FAFSA. It's just a way for the Department of Ed to look at everybody consistently and see what type of support that they have. But if you have a student who maybe they can't contact their parents anymore, or if you are in a legal guardianship, things do get a little bit different. And you're gonna wanna make sure you talk to the financial aid office at the school that you're going to. That's a great question. Does anyone have any other questions on the FAFSA? So with the FAFSA that we just talked about, they have certain requirements for you to be able to complete that. So to complete a FAFSA, you have to have graduated high school, you have to be either a US citizen or an eligible non-citizen, like permanent residency, or be here on asylum or refugee. If you don't qualify under those standards, we do have the CASPA. This is the Colorado application for state financial aid. And this is for students that don't qualify for FAFSA, a way for them to get funded for school as well. So this allows them to apply for state aid. And it's essentially asking the same questions as the FAFSA, but the funding just comes from the state instead. Okay, and then these are the dates that have from range. We are doing our FAFSA and CAFSA workshops. So if you have a student that wants to do a FAFSA or CAFSA for the upcoming year, whether they plan to go to Front Range, CSU, really anywhere, please feel free to just stop in on any of these dates if you want to take a picture, or scan the QR code, you can do that. We're going to be doing them every other Thursday from starting next week and going through June. And we're doing them at all 3 Front Range campuses as well. And then that's my presentation. So, does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Yeah, we have like 3 minutes.
No, I went over more than.
Oh, no, that's okay. También vamos a tener esta presentación en el website www.padresinvolucrados.com. Ya sé que era mucha información, pero también la vamos a tener en el website. Ahí pueden, ahorita les mostramos el website para que encuentren la presentación.
And we just wanted to bring up some of our students here, that came from Front Range Community College tonight. I know all these 3 individuals, from Latinx Club, but also just around campus. And I just wanted them to introduce themselves, what they're studying, and ask them, I know that we don't have a lot of time, so maybe ask them like a question or 2.
Hi, my name is Priscilla. I'm majoring in computer science, and I got a job there, a work study job. I know it was mentioned in the financial aid presentation, and it looks good on my resume because it's for IT. So I work for computer science, and I'm learning quite a bit with it. It's not an internship, but it's still a work study job, and I'm getting experience from it. And, I really enjoy being at Front Range just because it's more homely. There's more connections that you can make. Like, I know all of them, they're my friends, and I hope they're my lifelong friends, and I would have not met them if I was in a university with a big classroom. And it was just more intimate, more, you know, it just feels nice.
Hello, my name's Danielle. My major is business right now. And I'm planning to get into CSU, go into the accounting program. I like my major because, like you said, it's very, like, there's a lot of community there. I actually went to the Latinx club, which was fun. And then, and there's a lot of other stuff, like there's the video thing that they talked about, and there's the good potential. You can also join this one that's lead, you know, and that actually helps a lot with like leadership stuff.
Hi, my name is Ceci Vasquez. I am also at Front Range. I'm graduating this December with my Associates of the Arts degree in business and will be transferring to CU Denver or Metro in January. I really enjoy Front Range because there's a lot of opportunities and connections versus like a big university like CU Denver or Metro. Because at Front Range it is smaller, so you're able to make more of those connections. I have received a lot of internships from my experience and being in Latinx Club, being with Leads, which is a Latinx leadership program, and also being a part of a business program that's called Chamber Student Network. So there's lots of different opportunities, like no matter what program you're studying. Also, there's classes that are online, which I do both. I'm doing currently fully just online. And those are really nice because I'm able to manage work and school at the same time and able to do my classes when I have free time. And yeah.
I just want to go ahead and ask one question really, and that's what advice would you give parents to support their student through their post-secondary education?
Well, what advice would you give to a parent?
I guess an advice I give to a parent is, so I don't know.
Like how, if you look back, like how would you feel like your parents would have supported you to be able to be successful in maybe like applying for college, or like attending college?
Well, I feel like definitely you guys being here right now is a great opportunity for them, because my mom, I feel like she didn't know as much as you guys are learning right now. And my mom always wanted us to get an education and whatnot, but there was something that she just didn't know what to do and everything. And she came here from Mexico, so she was really kind of lost in a new foreign land. So being here right now and learning everything, I love that for you guys, for your children and everything, because it's a good opportunity to learn everything. So because I wish my mom learned what you guys are learning now, because then it would help us better. But thankfully we made our way. My eldest sister, she helped, you know, make us educated and how to navigate the world. So I thank her because she's the one who did it first. I mean, yeah, that's the only advice, like just stay educated, try to learn as much as you can, like grow with your children as well, and with anything you know, with their learning.
I would like to add that, like, I think that going to like the FAFSA night and stuff like that really does help, because it's like you're like a child that is supposed to go to college and you don't know how FAFSA works. They're not gonna work, not gonna know how it works either, and it just makes it harder. So FAFSA night really helps.
I would just add, like, going in person and talking with your advisor helps the most, especially when applying for semesters if you just started, or if it's classes, just to make sure you're taking the right classes. Like, for example, I was gonna take like 2 other classes and my advisor said, oh, you can graduate sooner if you make these couple changes. So definitely going every semester to make sure you're on track and taking the right classes. And also joining, parent wise, definitely just checking in with your student to make sure they're doing okay. Luckily I had a mom that went to college, so like making sure you're doing like mental health checks with your kids and making sure they're doing good and they have everything organized. Because it is nice to have someone like checking in on you, or you can even ask a friend. And yeah.
Thank you for coming and supporting us here at Range Community College. We do have some prizes, so I'm not sure if you guys want to answer some questions for us to win a prize. You want? Thank you. Thank you guys. I'm so sorry. So one of the first questions would be, who do you reach out to for more information regarding concurrent enrollment? Actually, it's not me, but yes. Yeah, counseling, yeah, high school counseling. Yeah. You can reach out to your high school counselor. What is a 529 savings plan?
It's a saving account for the student. Oh, interpreté bien.
And then what organizations provide extracurricular programs to help your student build their college journey? Does anybody know anything? Or just any extracurricular activity that your student can do? Wait, what? Sports, yeah. The student can go ahead and do high school sports to be able to build up their resume. All right, and that's it. Well, thank you for coming, and I hope you guys go home safely.
Community College, y rápidamente, si alguien en este cuarto atendió Front Range o tomaron clases en Front Range, levanten sus manos. If you went to Front Range or took classes, so. Muy buena opción, recuerden Front Range Community College, para los estudiantes. Y les recordamos que nuestra próxima sesión es el 6 de marzo, y nuestro tema va a ser el poder de conexión para prevenir el consumo de sustancias. Este tema lo va a dar Marinela, que muchos de nosotros los conocemos, entonces va a ser un tema muy importante y los esperamos aquí el 6 de marzo. Recuerden, entre más sesiones atienden, más probabilidades tienen de ganarse el acta para el final de nuestra celebración. So, por favor, aquí los esperamos. Los niños van a hacer arte terapia con SPAN y yoga, así que por favor los visten apropiadamente para actividades de movimiento y de yoga. Y que pasen buenas noches todos. Muchas gracias.